Grenfell was the place where that was my first home, where I had my first steps, my first meal. They're now gone.
And how does it feel to come back?
It's been more than 7 years, and still they wait for justice.
There are definitely people to blame for this.
72 lives lost, a close community torn apart, and the suffering continues. Hundreds of children in the area are still being treated for trauma.
These traumas have a ripple effect and a legacy that goes on over the years and carries on as well.
But here today in West London, triumph stands alongside tragedy. Those who were so young at the time of the fire are turning into adults, and they have something to say.
We weren't allowed to speak as little girls and boys, but now we're older and we're making some noise.
The children of Grenfell have found their voice.
And where in the tower, where was your home?
So I lived at the back of the tower, just on this corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in our living room, our window faced the park down there. And every time when my friends would be there, I'd shout their names from the window.
So you'd be like, be ready in a minute.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't think they would have heard me though, because I was so high.
But you could see they were there and you think, right, time to get my shoes on.
Yeah. It was really a nice space to live and to be with people. You know, every time when I would get into the lift, you know, I would know people in the lift. I'd be like, oh, hi. My neighbours were amazing, like all of my neighbours. We had this neighbour called Mehdi, and he would always knock on our door. And yeah.
Yeah. Mehdi didn't make it, did he? And I guess in some ways that's the greatest cruelty of what happened is those children who didn't get to grow up. And we're talking to you about the 7 years and what you're doing, but do you think about him in that way and think about what the milestones he's missed?
Yeah, like I sort of feel a bit guilty. You know, you just think about I feel guilty that I'm here living and doing all this stuff when obviously they didn't get a chance to, you know, live and, you know, do stuff that they wanted to do at such a young age.
As her family fled the tower, Luana collapsed in the stairwell and was rescued by a firefighter.
I was in a coma for almost a month. When I came out, you know, it was, I don't know what happened. I was very confused. Yeah, it was very hard, you know, people telling you what happened and, you know, stuff that's changed now. Like, it was really hard.
You woke up to a different world, really, didn't you?
Yeah.
Her unborn baby brother Logan didn't survive.
I actually wrote one right there for my brother.
Grenfell's youngest victim. After the fire, the NHS simply couldn't cope with the number of children coming forward with mental health problems, so this specialist unit was created.
It doesn't feel like we're in a hospital right now.
That was the plan.
That was the point.
Everyone started talking about kind of really muted colours and we were like, it will look like a hospital. So that's why we kind of went with the dark green.
The Grenfell Health and Wellbeing Service has treated more than 1,000 children and young people, with a constant stream of new referrals each month.
The fact that, you know, we're 7.5 years on now and we still haven't had sort of the second inquiry report yet, that's just coming up, and there's still no decision around the tower and there hasn't been the criminal proceedings yet, that really has led to there being this sort of sense that this trauma is not over. One of the key things we see is avoidance of wanting to think about or talk about or look at the tower. So we still have children and young people now, 7.5 years down the line, averting their eyes and not being able to look at the tower as they walk past it as well, and feeling incredibly frightened. What we know about trauma and post-traumatic stress and traumatic grief is that children usually are born and sort of have a bit of a kind of bubble of safety created by their family and have a sort of sense that, generally speaking, the world is a safe place. And a trauma can sort of shatter those assumptions of safety and give them a sense of, oh, you know, terrible things can happen and people can be lost suddenly.
So many people rely on this place, but its future is uncertain. And with the story of Grenfell still unfinished, more children will keep coming forward for help. Ben is one of them.
Got my PS4. I got it when I was in Hilton, actually, when we were staying in the hotel after Grenfell, and I've had it with me ever since. So that's where I entertain myself sometimes and play games.
Do you remember the moment when you realised what had happened?
I look through the window, just looking through the window before I'm about to sleep, and I see a house, a tall building engulfed in flames. I don't know what it was, and then later I realised that it was my own home.
Explain to me your T-shirt.
This was my friend who sadly passed away in the tower. His name was Isaac Paulos. His initials IP. My best friend at the time. He was like my brother.
The children of Grenfell who didn't get a chance to grow up, how do you think they should be remembered?
They had bright dreams. Some of them could have wanted to be a footballer, wanted to be an engineer, wanted to be an architect, but it's just gone in one flame. Their dreams are crushed. It just makes me think of, it could have been me.
What your message is to people in charge?
I have a message for them that they need to remove the cladding of almost every UK building, because that cladding is deadly. It's when it comes to fire, it can destroy houses within minutes, within hours, like it did to Grenfell. Spread really quickly, and I have for everyone, please remove it, please.
Almost everyone knows Inez's story, even if they don't know her face. As she fled the tower, she grabbed her textbooks, sitting her chemistry GCSE the next morning.
I was just a child then. To me, I didn't think I did anything special. I just sat at GCSE just like everyone else. I feel kind of separate from that person. 7 years, a lot changes, especially between the ages of 16 and 23. I guess my biggest trauma was watching the building burning and people screaming. So the following year, when June came around and I was revising for exams, I had probably the biggest mental breakdown I've ever had before.
You say you were known as Grenfell Girl. When you think about the story of your whole life, as you are now at the start of adulthood, where do you want Grenfell to feature in that story?
I want it to be something that doesn't kind of like penetrate my thoughts daily. I don't want it to define me, but I guess it's kind of a reminder of how strong I was and how strong the community was after it.
The silent walk is about to begin.
On every anniversary of the tragedy, the people of West London come together. This year, it was the children's turn to be heard.
Hi everybody, my name's Yusra. Follow the adults on the silent walk. You must stay silent, make sure you don't talk. You mustn't speak, little girls and boys. You went through trauma but make no noise. Because of course little children know nothing about death. Their understanding is so shallow, their brains lack real depth. Yes, they saw their friends die, but do they really know what occurred? Only the adults understand what happened. We're the true connoisseurs. We weren't allowed to speak as little girls and boys, but now we're older and we're making some noise.
What did it do to your childhood?
I mean, there's parts of my childhood that I kind of blocked and I just don't remember. Like the year after the fire, I just don't remember. I don't remember living in the hotel. There was 5 of us. My mum was pregnant and we were living in a room. They didn't allow me to enjoy my time as a child. They messed up everything in my life. I had no home to go back to, I had no school to go back to. And even when we did go back to school, it was different. There was empty chairs in our classrooms. There's still cladding on buildings. You know, have they learnt nothing? It's 7 years on. You know, why does it take 72 people to die for you to even think, oh, maybe we should take cladding that might kill people off, and you still haven't done that?
For 7 long years, the horror of Grenfell devastated their childhoods. But these young people have hope for the future. Yusra wants to be a teacher.
There was one specific teacher who helped me get through secondary school. I kind of want to do what she wants to do. Even if it's for one child and I make their life better, I think my job is done.
Inez has graduated and is travelling the world.
I don't really like to live life by knowing what I'm going to do in a month's time. So I graduated last year, I've been travelling since then. I'm just trying to figure myself out.
This autumn, Luana goes to university to study dance.
As cliche as it sounds, dancing, it's a way for me to express, how I feel, the emotions, I'm feeling inside.
And as Abem goes into year 8, he just wants other children to be safe.
We need to remove all the bad material, cladding. It could be an even worse material that we don't know. Please, please remove us. And if that happens, we will claim that it's justice.